Sportverein Werder Bremen von 1899 e.V., commonly known as Werder Bremen, is a German sports club located in Bremen in the northwest German federal state-free Hanseatic City of Bremen. The club was founded in 1899 and has grown to 40,400 members. It is best known for its association football team. Bremen's football club has been a mainstay in the Bundesliga, the top league of the German football league system. Bremen have won the Bundesliga championship 4 times and the DFB-Pokal 6 times. Their latest championship in each came in 2004, when they won a double. Bremen have also had European success, winning the 1992 European Cup Winners' Cup. Bremen also reached the final match of the last edition of the UEFA Cup in 2009. During the early 2000s, Bremen was one of the most successful teams in the Bundesliga, but the club has not played in a European competition since the 2010 Euro 2011 campaign. Since 1924, Werder Bremen's stadium is the Weserstadion. Werder Bremen's manager is rebranded. Werder Bremen has a rivalry with Hamburger SV, another Bundesliga club in northern Germany, known as the Nordderby. History: the club was founded on February 4, 1899 as Sportverein Werder by a group of 16 vocational high school students who had won a prize of sports equipment. The students took the club's name from the seldom used regional German word for a Euro or river peninsula, which described the riverside field on which they played their first football games. The predecessor to Bremen, known as SV Werder, played its first ever match on September 10, 1899 against ASC 1898 Bremen, coming away with a 1-0 victory. In 1900 FV Bremen was represented at the founding of the German Football Association at Leipzig. The club then enjoyed some early success, fielding competitive sides and winning a number of local championships. FV took part in the qualification play for the national championships and playoffs held by the Norddeutsche Fußballverband, one of the 7 major regional leagues after the turn of the century, but were unable to advance. They became the first club to charge spectators a fee to attend their games and defense in their playing field. In April 1914, the club became a department of Allgemeine Bremer Turnverein in 1860 and was briefly known as Sportverein Werder des ABTV. However, the relationship was short-lived and the club went its own way again less than 2 months later. Steady growth after World War I led the club to adopt other sports and, on January 19, 1920, changed their name to the current Sportverein Werder Bremen. Football remained their primary interest, so much so that in 1922, they became the first German club to hire a professional coach. The team made regular appearances in year-end NFE qualification round play through the 1920s and on into the early 1930s, but did not enjoy any success. German football was reorganized under the Third Reich in 1933 into 16 First Division leagues known as Gauligen, and Werder became part of the Gauliga Niedersachsen. The club scored its first real successes, capturing division titles in 1934, 1936, and 1937, and took part for the first time in national-level playoff competition. The shape of the Gauligen changed through the course of World War II, and in 1939, the Gauliga Niedersachsen was split into 2 divisions. SV played in the Gauliga Niedersachsen Nord, where they captured a 4th title in 1942. As the war overtook the country, the Gauligen became progressively more local in character. The Gauliga Niedersachsen Nord became the Gauliga Weser-Ems and then the Gauliga Weser-Ems Bremen over the next 2 years. Werder's 1944 Euro 45 season was cut short after just 2 matches. Like other organizations throughout Germany, the club was disbanded on the order of the occupying Allied authorities after the war. They reconstituted themselves November 10, 1945 as Turnverein Werder 1945 Bremen, which was changed to Sport Club Gra 1/4 NWA 99 Bremen on February 4, 1946. The team took up play in the State Liga Bremen, and after capturing a title there, participated in the Northern German Championship round, advancing to the quarter-finals. They were able to reclaim the name SV Werder on March 25, 1946 before taking part in the playoffs. At the time, professionals were not permitted to play in the German game, so it was normal for football players to take on other jobs, often with the club's local patron. In the case of Werder, a number of the players worked at the nearby �bʁeːmən tobacco factory, and so the side took on the nickname Texas 11 after one of the company's popular cigarette brands. Between the end of the war and the formation of the Bundesliga in 1963, the club continued to do well, being recognized as one of the top two teams in northern Germany, along with Hamburger SV. In 1961, they managed their first DFB-Pokal win. Their performance was good enough to earn them a place as a charter member of the Bundesliga, and in the league's second season, Werder took the championship. They earned a second-place finish in the 1967 Euro 68, but then languished in the bottom half of the table for a dozen years. An attempt to improve their lot by signing high-priced talent earned the side the new, derisive nickname of the Millionaires and turned out to be an expensive failure. The club dropped out of the Bundesliga for the first and only time, being relegated to the second Bundesliga Nord for the 1980 Euro 81 season after a 17th-place finish. Werder Bremen recovered themselves under the direction of newly hired coach Otto Rehagel, who led the side to a string of successes, Bundesliga runners-up in 1983, 1985 and 1986, champions in 1988. Appearances in the final of the DFB-Pokal in 1989 and 1990 with a win there in 1991. Followed by victory in the European Cup Winners' Cup in 1992. In 1993, the club earned its third Bundesliga title and, in the following year, its third DFB-Pokal. Rehagel left the club in June 1995 after this impressive run for a short-lived term as coach of Bayern Munich. The impact of Rehagel's departure was felt immediately, and a succession of coaches led the club into a critical position. In May 1999, former defender and amateur coach Thomas Schaaf took over the team and stopping a slide toward relegation and leading the team to a cup victory only weeks later. The team's performance stabilized in the following seasons as they regularly finished in the upper half of the table. In 2004, they managed to take both the Bundesliga Championship and the DFB-Pokal, a Euro, one of only 4 German sides to achieve the double. Their performance qualified them for the 2004 Euro 05 Champions League play and they advanced to the round of 16 before a dismal exit on a 10 Euro 2 aggregate to French side Olympique Lyonnais. Werder again qualified for the Champions League in 2005, this time through a third-place Bundesliga result following a difficult injury-prone season. They once more advanced to the round of 16, this time being put out by Italian club Juventus on away goals after a 4 Euro 4 aggregate score. A second place in the league ensured the third consecutive Champions League qualification for Werder Bremen. In the 2006 Euro 07 season, Werder Bremen claimed the Winter Champions title, being the first-place team in the Bundesliga before the winter break period, but eventually came in third behind VfB Stuttgart and Schalke 04. A third place in the Champions League group stage sent Bremen to the UEFA Cup, where they lost in the semi-finals to RCD Espanyol. After the season, Werder lost their famous striker Miroslav Klose through transfer to Bayern Munich. As in the previous season, Bremen finished third in the Champions League, but this time lost in the round of 16 to Scottish club Rangers. A vice-championship in the Bundesliga qualified Werder for their 5th consecutive Champions League attendance. Bremen struggled in their Bundesliga campaign of 2008 Euro 09, eventually finishing 10th, their worst league performance in more than a decade. Nevertheless, Bremen made it to the UEFA Cup final, as well as the National Cup final. After Naldo equalized an early goal by Shakhtar Donetsk, Bremen lost the final 1 Euro 2 after extra time. In the final match of the 2008 Euro 09 season, Bremen defeated Bayer Leverkusen 1 Euro 0 to win the DFB-Pokal. In the 2008 Euro 09 UEFA Cup, Bremen made it to the final. Supporters and rivals. Werder Bremen has a long-standing rivalry with northern German club Hamburger SV, another major club in northern Germany, known as the Nordderby, and other big clubs like Bayern Munich in particular. They have developed a recent but intense dislike of Schalke 04 after the Gelsenkirchen side lured top players, and Fabian Ernst, with lucrative contracts to join them. There are a few ultra groups in Bremen: Wanderers Bremen, the infamous Youth, and Ultra Team Bremen. They support the team in each match. The official anthem of Werder Bremen is Lebenslang {1/4 by Bremen-based band Original Deutschmacher. Honours: National titles, Bundesliga. Winners: 1964 Euro 65, 1987 Euro 88, 1992 Euro 93, 2003 Euro 04. Runners-up: 1967 Euro 68, 1982 Euro 83, 1984 Euro 85, 1985 Euro 86, 1994 Euro 95, 2005 Euro 06, 2007 Euro 08. 2. Bundesliga. Winners: 1980 Euro 81. DFB-Pokal. Winners: 1960 Euro 61, 1990 Euro 91, 1993 Euro 94, 1998 Euro 99, 2003 Euro 04, 2008 Euro 09. Runners-up: 1988 Euro 89, 1989 Euro 90, 1999 Euro 2000, 2009 Euro 10. DFB Liga Pokal. Winners: 2006. Runners-up: 1999, 2004. DFL Super Cup. Winners: 1988, 1993, 1994, 2009. Runners-up: 1991. European titles: UEFA Europa League, UEFA Cup. Runners-up: 2008 Euro 09. UEFA Super Cup. Runners-up: 1992. UEFA Cup Winners' Cup. Winners: 1991 Euro 92. UEFA Intertoto Cup. Winners: 1998. Other titles: Kirin Cup. Winners: 1982, 1986. Youth titles: German Under-19 Championship. Winners: 1999. Under-19 Bundesliga North-Northeast. Winners: 2007, 2009. Players: for recent transfers, see List of German football transfers summer 2014. Current squad, as of July 2, 2014. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. On loan, note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Retired numbers: 12 Euro club supporters, coaching staff. Sponsorship: companies that Werder Bremen currently has sponsorship deals with include Wissenhofer Euro main sponsor, Nike Euro official kit suppliers, Target Bank Euro official sponsors, formerly Citibank, Volkswagen Euro official sponsors, Coca-Cola Euro official sponsors, InBev Euro official sponsors, Tipico Euro official sponsors, Siggi Solar Euro official sponsors, Ramada Euro official sponsors, Kraft Foods Euro official sponsors, Utala Euro official sponsors, CEWE Color Euro official sponsors, Hochbeck, Hasera Paragraph Dairy Euro official sponsors. Former sponsors, in the 2008 Euro 09 Bundesliga season. During the transition of the German branch of Citibank to Target Bank, following its takeover by Credit Mutual, Werder Bremen sported on the shirts the transitional message So Jet Bank Ut. Werder Bremen 2. Werder Bremen's reserve team currently plays in the Regionalliga Nord but also has been a regular fixture at third-level football in Germany. It plays its home matches at Weserstadion, Platz 11, adjacent to the first team's ground, and it is coached by Thomas Walter, a former Werder player. Notable players: a list of notable Werder Bremen players can be found here. For a list of all past and present players who are the subjects of Wikipedia articles, see category, SV Werder Bremen players. Managers since 1963. Werder has had 19 managers since the beginning of the Bundesliga era in 1963. Otto Reagel served the longest term, being in office for 14 years. Hans Tilkowski, Willy Multhorpe, Rudi Assauer, and Otto Rehagel served 2 terms each while Fritz Langner served 3. SV Werder Bremen in Europe. Recent finishes and attendance, SV Werder Bremen in Forbes magazine, references. External links, official website, Werder Bremen statistics, Werder Bremen formations at football lineups.